Hello, good evening, my dear children. Welcome back to our online revision section. Before starting my review class, now I am going to tell you about the exam portions. The teacher has already posted the exam portions in the class group. I hope you all got an idea about your exam portions. However, teacher says once again, for this exam, you have 6 chapters: agriculture, manufacturing, human resources, Indian Constitution and its legal framework, secular vision of the Constitution, and government and economic development. You only need to learn objective type questions from agriculture, manufacturing, and government and economic development. Clear, children? Once again, you only need to learn objective types questions from agriculture, manufacturing, and government and economic development. Today's your review classes are Indian Constitution and its legal framework and a secular vision of the Indian Constitution. Let us learn about each of these chapters. First one, Indian Constitution. In this chapter, you have learned the Constitution of India. The Constitution of India was enacted on 26th November 1949 and came into effect on 26th January 1950. Indian Constitution is the longest written constitution in the world. According to its preamble, the Union of India is a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. Socialist means it is a political system in which the entire society is own and control the means of production and distribution. Secularism means a state where all religions are treated equally and there is no state religion. Then after, you have learned key features of the Indian Constitution. First one, federalism. That is, governance in India is divided between central and state government. Second one, parliamentary form of government. The parliament is the supreme institution and represent the people. Third one, fundamental rights. Constitution guarantees certain right to the people of India, which one is known as fundamental rights. Then, fourth one, separation of powers. The constitutions divide their power to 3 organs of the government, that is, legislature, executive, and judiciary. Then after, you have learned about the constitution is the primary source of all legislation. That means it provides the basic guidelines for governance based on the principles of popular democracy, the nature of the country's political system. It authorizes a country's government to exercise certain powers and put a check on their use in the arbitrary way. It outlines the process of making new legislation or laws for the country. And last, the duties and rights of the people. Then after, you have learned the judicial review. It means the Supreme Court of India has the right to evaluate a law with regard to its conformity with the Constitution. If the law is against the spirit of the Constitution, the Supreme Court is declared it is unconstitutional. This process is called judicial review. Then after, you have learned fundamental rights. The constitutions provide or guarantees certain right to the people of India. These rights are called fundamental rights, and these fundamental rights are inviolable rights. It means it cannot be violated. Then after, you have learned importance of law. The laws are very important to protect or liberate our society from negative practices and customs. For example, dowry system. The Government of India has passed a number of civil laws, criminal laws, and special legislative acts against the practice of dowry in India. For example, Dowry Prohibition Act 1961. Then, Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005 and other laws. Then, you have learned laws and dissent. Dissent means it is an expression of disagreement or opposition. Dissent has an important role in a democracy. Okay, in this chapter you learned two examples. First one, salt satyagraha. According to the salt law imposed by the British government in 1882, the collection and production of salt by anyone without the permission of the colonial authorities was declared unlawful. Besides, a tax was also imposed on salt, which affected the common people. It affected the poor the most as they could not use salt anymore, which was considered a staple in Indian diet. Mahatma Gandhi initiated the civil disobedience movement in 1929-30 by launching a symbolic campaign against the salt law. Second, the anti-liquor campaign. In 1991, a group of women from Andhra Pradesh began a protest movement against the widespread practice of alcoholism amongst the male members of their families. The women started a struggle for banning the sale of cheap liquor produced by the government. The movement was led by an old woman named Vardhaneni Rosamma. As a result of this movement, a statewide ban was imposed on sale of alcohol in 1995. Clear, children? This much only from this chapter. Clear? Let us see the second chapter, Secular Vision of the Indian Constitution. In this chapter, you have learned secularism and the Indian Constitution. The term secularism refers to a system of social and political organization where no religion is given special treatment. It is understood primarily by the separation of religion from the state. The constitution makers felt it important to keep religion and state separate for the following reason. First one, enabling the country to function democratically, and the second, protection of people's right to freedom of religion. Then after, you have learned fundamental rights. The fundamental rights enshrined in the Indian Constitution are, first one, a right to equality. It is enshrined in Article 14 to 80. According to right to equality, it establishes the rule of law. That means a system in which the country is ruled on the basis of the laws framed by the people's representatives and not by the wishes of a person or a group of persons in country. Then, the state cannot discriminate against a citizen on grounds of religion, sect, sex, caste, or place of birth. The state cannot discriminate against anyone in matters relating to employment. Most importantly, Article 17 abolishes untouchability as a practice. Second, right to freedom. Freedom is a basic human right and a very significant element of democracy. And about the right to freedom enshrined in Articles 19 to 22. Right to freedom guarantees 6 basic freedoms such as freedom of speech and expression, freedom to assemble peacefully without arms, freedom to form associations and unions, freedom to move freely throughout the country, freedom to reside and settle in any part of the country, freedom to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation, trade or business. However, the right to protection of life and personal liberty cannot be suspended even during the proclamation of an emergency. In this right also include no person can be deprived of his or her personal liberty. A person who is arrested will have to be told the reason for such arrest. The arrested citizen must be brought before the nearest magistrate within 24 hours. If arrested, the person has a right to defend himself or herself by consulting and engaging a lawyer. Then, third, right against exploitation. The Indian Constitution recognizes the dignity of the individual and protects his or her against any form of exploitation. And about this right against exploitations enshrined in the Article 23 and 24. According to this right, prohibit trafficking in human beings. Trafficking means selling and buying of human beings for immoral purpose. Then it prohibit bonded labor and it prohibit child labor also. Next right to freedom of religion. The Constitution guarantees the right to freedom of religion under Articles 25 to 28. According to this right, every person has a right to profess, practice, and propagate the religion he or she believes in. Every religious community has a right to establish institutions for religious and charitable purpose. No citizen can be denied admission in any educational institution in the name of religion. Then, fifth fundamental right, cultural and educational right. These rights address the concern of minority communities. Every section of the Indian population has the right to conserve their script, language, and culture. Admission to any educational institutions funded by the government cannot be denied on the ground of religion, caste, region, or language. Every section of the society has the right to establish and administer educational institution for its choice. Then last one, right to constitutional remedies. In order to ensure that the citizens' rights are protected by the state, the Constitution has provided for the right to constitutional remedies under Article 32. By virtue of this right, citizens are empowered to approach the Supreme Court, any of the high courts, or any other courts if he or she thinks any of his or her fundamental rights has been violated. The Supreme Court and the High Courts have the power to issue directives, orders, or writs for the enforcement of the fundamental rights. Then after you have learned about fundamental duties. The fundamental duties are a novel feature of the Indian Constitution. The Constitution 42nd Amendment Act 1976 introduced 10 fundamental duties in Article 15A of the Constitution of India. The 86th Constitution Amendment Act 2002 has added one more fundamental duties. As a result, there are now 11 fundamental duties prescribed for the citizens of India. Listed below are the fundamental duties to be filled by the citizen of India. From this list, you can study any 6 fundamental rights. Okay, children? This much only from this lesson. Clear? Okay, thank you. Dear children, tomorrow during the live class, I will ask questions based on both these chapters. So tomorrow, get everyone ready to answer these questions. Clear? Okay, thank you.